Good evening. By the way, Lowell, I have the second half of your speech. I knew that was the only way we could get you to stop. Okay, on behalf of the Board of Directors, it gives me great pleasure to address the St.Agnes men's soccer team of 1962 into the Sports Hall of Fame in the team category. First of all, I want to thank all the members of that team. I think we have just about the whole team here or somebody from the family of that team. So thank you very much. Some traveled a good distance to get here, and I'm overwhelmed with your response. Okay, let's look back a little bit. That was 53 years ago, and the school year would have started in September with the usual host of school activities. As all of our generation are aware, this meant competition between the three local high schools, which has been mentioned several times tonight: Central, Mount Carmel, and St.Agnes. This local circumstance of local teams was very convenient for competition in the town. And we had 3-team leagues and everything. You didn't have to get drives to go to games. Matter of fact, the competition, some called it a rivalry, and some people even called it war. It was evident in school sports, for sure. It was common knowledge in those years that the toughest part of winning any provincial championship was winning right here in the town league. If you could get out of the town league, you had a good chance of winning the headmaster's championship. Unlike today, there's no win-loss record of the teams and the season. I researched the Cape Breton Post and the Coal Bowl records, and I came up with 2 paragraphs to summarize the whole year for that team. But although they didn't keep records of regular season games, I think every player on every team knew their win-loss record. So before my description of the playoffs, which I managed to research, I'm going to return to 1962 for a few minutes and describe to you the atmosphere around St.Agnes School. Okay, so shortly after the first few days of school, practice or tryouts for the soccer team would be announced over the PA system. This was probably done by the principal, Sister Frances Cabrini, and all the St.Agnes people will recognize that name. This tryout consisted of a gathering up 12 Field. Now, we refer to it as a St.Agnes Sports Complex. This is a generous term because it was half hayfield and half gravel, and there was a fallen down backstop in one corner. But it was our field. There might be 2 goalposts there for soccer practice, but there was no crossbar, no mesh, and 2 or 3 old soccer balls to practice. That didn't matter anyway, because 98% of the practice was fitness training. Laps, 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 and more laps. That's all we did. Anyway, today we have all kinds of colored soccer fields, fluorescent and everything, soccer cleats. There was no soccer cleats, or they were rare. Sneakers and pit boots were the common footwear when you were trying out. Home and away jerseys didn't exist, and they were a pipe dream. And practice pennies, well, no such thing. If you were lucky enough to make the team, you received last year's hockey sweaters. If you check out that picture, there are hockey sweaters on that soccer team. Now, those who are unfamiliar with this situation might this might sound gloomy. However, the opposite was true. The practices were exhausting, and we had lots of fun. And St.Agnes had this advantage. After practice, we had the best showers in town, 12-foot washout showers. So we were the cleanest team in town, too. Okay, I'll come back to 1962 in the playoffs. As mentioned above, the league games were keenly contested. To advance to provincials, St.Agnes had to play off with Central here in town. This was supposed to be a one-game sudden death playoff. It ended up being a marathon of 3 games. The first 2 games had to be called on account of darkness. You had overtime then, or extra time in soccer then, but you didn't have the penalty kick rule, so you kept playing until somebody scored. First 2 games ended in darkness. The third game ended in overtime by a 1-0 score. And the reason I'm so familiar with this is I was playing for Central. So I think I'm quite gracious in doing this address. So in the provincial championship which followed, St.Agnes was against Berwick, and Berwick was a good team from the Valley. The Valley were into soccer much quicker than we switched from rugby to soccer in a few years after them. They beat Berwick 2-1. The following day they met Pugwash in the provincial finals. Our local boys fell behind 1-0 at the half. However, they rallied and scored 2 goals in the second half to claim the championship. Now, the newspaper articles on this account for different goal scorers. Many goal scorers for a 2-1 score. However, it's sufficient to say that it was a team effort, and I won't go into individual goal scorers. Team captain Marshal Poirier proudly led his team on the traditional fire engine parade through the town. This was the first and only Nova Scotia Headmasters Soccer Championship in the history of St.Agnes School, and that's why we're recognizing them. Now that newspaper article ended by the players giving all the credit to their coaches, Fox and Danny. I will finish my address on this same point. The names Fox Chiasson and Danny McSween are highly regarded by hundreds of people who attended St.Agnes School. Personally, Fox coached me in 3 different sports: hockey, soccer, and basketball. He led by example. He was always calm and controlled. He never showed anger. And I never heard him criticize a referee. And I think that speaks to the integrity of the man as a coach. Now, if Fox was calm, Danny was the spark plug. His favorite expression was, "Holy fluke and Nelly, boys, pull up your socks and get going." And when he said that, we went like bulldogs. I've followed soccer over the years, and I've known many coaches throughout those years that were good at technique and skills, but none were better at motivating than Danny McSween. I'm going to introduce the team, and I will start with the 2 coaches, and I'm going to ask Joanne MacDonald and Mike Kennedy to come and help present the crests. 2 alumni of St.Agnes High and 2 members of the board. So first of all, for Fox Chiasson, we have his niece, Doreen Chiasson. She'll accept the certificates. Yeah. Perhaps if, as I call your name, come up, and if you can refrain the applause until the end, and when we get all the team up here, you can applaud. So Doreen, if you can come up. Doreen is Fox's niece. Coach Danny MacSween. Hello, hid the St.Agnes certificates of it.
Got you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Payback.
My dog died.
Just line up as you go over there, yeah.
Just throwing the milk cartons in the back there.
So we have several members of Danny MacSween's family, and his grandson, Matthew Casey, is going to accept. Members of the team, first of all, Vernon Bates. If you come up, Vernon, please. Just remain up, the whole team, until we get everybody up here. Marshall Brigg. John Donovan. John Gillis. Okay. Trying to go fast. Oh, we lose all the time, eh? All right. John, Buddie MacDonald. Dave McDougall. Bobby MacIsaac. Gerry MacIsaac. John Brothers MacIsaac couldn't make it because of family commitments, but we have his brother Raymond, who's going to accept his certificate. As Ronnie mentioned earlier, we're going to do the team pictures after, so when we're finished the certificates, just take your seats and we'll do the team pictures after all the addresses. Billy McLellan. Alfred Sampson. Nicky Sinclair. Raymond MacNeil could not make it because of health reasons, but his good friend John Donovan will accept his certificate. We have two deceased members. Russell McInnis. Russell was a good friend of mine, so I will make sure Russell's family gets his certificate. And last but not least, Marshall Poirier. You know, in February this year, when I started this, contacting these people, every one of them to the player expressed their admiration for Marshall. And it left no doubt in my mind, he was the heart and soul and the spirited leader of the team, and also the humorous player of the team. We have several members of Marshall's family. First of all, his mother, Liz. Liz, I think you should stand up. We have Marshall's sister, Carolyn, and brother Daniel here. We have his two daughters, Rosalind and Karen. And last but not least, Betty is gonna accept the certificate and the plaque on behalf of the team. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the St.Agnes boys soccer team.